What's good, people? Jamstar here, and I am with the next episode of Bravery Camp, which is going to be a breakdown analysis with Vaan and a few of my matches. So I'm going to just give a brief explanation of Vaan. So he's pretty much a specialist unique. He doesn't really have the best poise in his bravery, so he has like 4 bravery attacks, where the rest of the cast have like 7. So he's kind of limited options with bravery, although he has 6 HP attacks, but the rest of the cast have 4. So he covers a lot of options with his HP attacks. A lot of his HP attacks do have poise, a strong amount of poise as well, so you can kind of challenge people with some of them. So you can run up on someone's face with Azure Torrent, and they might throw a hitbox, and sometimes you'll probably win the trade, like 9 times out of 10. So the build that I'm currently running is like a Japanese meta build, which is Azure Torrent, Whitewell, or Azure Torrent and like Calamity Orb, or any of them sort of ones. So normally what the Japanese tend to do, they normally tend to have Azure Torrent as slot 1, and then they'll cover any other option with slot 2 depending on what the map is. Bravery regen and HP regen is something that I've taken out of Taka's book, which is a Vaan player from Japan. Yag Hansman recommended watching his video, so I didn't. Took a few pages from his book and trying to adjust to the Japanese meta and how they play Vaan as well. So yeah, I am getting used to it. I'm struggling with it a little bit, but over time it became second nature. So let's focus on the match. So at the moment we've got Squall, Cloud, and Kefka. So they don't really have much rush potential other than Squall, but they have a lot of stage control from Kefka's kit overall, and Cloud has Meteor Rain, so he can snipe people as well from the distance. With us though, we've got Zidane with Solution 9 and Terra with Meteor. So Zidane's really good if he has Tidal Flame in terms of stage control, but Solution 9 is just as decent. It doesn't really have the best range, so you have to kind of run up in their face and hit him with it, but he gets trance every single time he does that, so it does benefit him a lot. Terra having Meteor though, it's not a move that you'll just spam constantly. It's really good for sniping enemies, so if someone commits to something that leaves them on minus, she can throw a Meteor and punish him, which is really good. One of the things that I had to pay attention to though is Kefka's Bravery Conduit, because that's kryptonite to Vaan. Anything that can suck Vaan's bravery away from him and stop him from doing his job, that's when he becomes a problem. And we're on Pandemonium as well, so the way that this map tends to spawn us, it will either spawn us at like high side, low side, or in the middle, which is what I've noticed the most. Without further ado, let's get into the match then. Okay, so I think it spawns us on high side. Alright, so it spawns us on high side already. So with neutral, we're going to have a stronger neutral than them, because they have to come up and approach us, because otherwise we can just hold the high ground and just poke at them for days until we have a high enough bravery to confirm picks. So the way that it tends to go is with me, I throw out Whitewell. It gives me a brick wall for me and Terra to apply pressure from, and then Zidane can literally just pick and poke whenever he chooses. So instantly I throw out Whitewell, as I said, and I start to throw down 2 to apply my wall. You can kind of see that Kefka's a bit far. Squall's just jumped off, so he's going to be really far behind to help Cloud with invading. And Cloud's just literally just ran in and he's just invading straight away. Alright, so that's probably the most meatiest read that I've ever done in this video game, and I would not recommend anyone else to do it, because sometimes it won't end in your favour. So let's just explain neutral quickly. So neutral is obviously, an exchange between 2 enemies until an opening shows up. So there's only 2 ways that you can break neutral, especially in a situation like this, where you either see an opening in the enemy's defense, or you're invading. Those are the only 2 ways neutral is broken. Because they had low side and we had the high ground, it forced them to invade us. So Cloud's literally ran in my face and done jumping forward 2, which is the helm splitter, and the hitbox wasn't there, so he was right on top of me, and I was punishing him with Azure Torrent, so it was a really meaty read. I wouldn't really recommend it though with Azure Torrent. With Red Spiral, yeah, you can do it because it's an anti-air properties, but the only reason I was able to get away with that particularly is because Cloud misspaced it. So if he charged it a bit, if he actually charged the forward 2 and I'd done Azure Torrent, he would have whiff punished me and he would have had enough range to knock me back towards the wall. So now that he's on hard knockdown, they don't have a tank to kind of knock people around, and Kefka is in no distance to be throwing projectiles towards me. As you just saw, you saw a glimpse, like the thunder just about kissed me, so I was able to run down. I'm trying to keep the momentum going right here, and I challenged Squall. So I convert to my fastest burst option, which is dash 2. So I put him towards the wall, and because of his down 2, the frame becomes active at the end and then towards him. Well, with Vaan's down 2, it kind of throws out as a projectile. So what was I saying again? So yeah, it became active, and I was able to pin him to the wall. So normally, if he was a bit further, then or he done it earlier, he probably would have been able to pull me towards it. But because my hitbox was moving towards him, I was able to beat him on that duel. So Cloud gets up, and with this here, he comes out of his invincibility. So everyone who gets hit with an invincibility move gets put on hard knockdown, so they have a couple of seconds to get back up. And then they get invincibility frames to run around and reposition to themselves. The moment you convert to an aggressive option, you lose that invincibility. So he charges at me and sticks out dash attack. So obviously dash attack has a bit of start up. So I was able to challenge that with Azure Torrent, and I won the challenge with that. If he'd done normal jump into, which is the slash, and charged it a bit, he probably would have beaten me in that trade. I noticed Terra's pulling Squall in, so I go to challenge that with Azure Torrent, and then I keep the momentum going and hit him with Azure Torrent. So the moment I hit Squall, I got 3 stacks, so that instantly means my next HP attack is going to be Luminescence, so that's extra HP damage, so I whack that on Kefka straight away. The only reason I was able to pull off that whole string is because Kefka ignored me the moment I approached Squall and was dealing with Zidane instead. So that's map awareness right there. Squall again tries to go for an aggressive option the moment he comes out of invincibility and does down 2, which is another slow option. So obviously, as I said before, with the hitboxes, it'll take a while for it to be active, so I go for my fastest burst option and I beat him with it. I pin him to the wall, and Terra ends up getting a bit of damage. So I hit him with Azure Torrent again, and with the Luminescence, I break his Bravery, and it's just about enough to kill him. So while he's dead, he's going to have a couple of seconds until he gets back up again. So I try to keep the momentum going, and I go for Cloud straight away, as I notice that he's probably the next threat. I knock him away and do White Well towards Kefka, so the only option that Kefka has to beat the White Well is either he commits to a HP option to stuff my White Well, go for Bravery Conduit, or jump in down 2, so I'm isolating a lot of his options, but it's down to the Kefka to play those options correctly. So I go to dual Cloud again, and I hit him with Azure Torrent. So the reason why I won that was because, again, dash attack has a slow start up, so Azure Torrent has a really fast start up. I beat him in that trade. And then on top of that, the terrain was a bit of a problem. So if he was in the air, he would have been able to throw the hitbox a bit further, but the hitbox actually clips on the edge. So if you do a dash attack or any sort of attack that drags you further, you end up just staying at the edge clips. But the hitbox will still carry on, but it won't move you any further than what it's supposed to do. So now that he's dead and Squall's disappeared, like he's really far at the end of the map, we all dog to Kefka straight away. So Don's already trying to chase him down. He commits to down 2, but because the hitbox was really wide and it didn't become as active, I converted to my fast burst option again, which was dash attack, and I pin him to the wall, and then I seal the deal with Azure Torrent and end up killing him. So with that, the same way that I killed Squall is the same way that I killed Kefka. If I hit him with Azure Torrent off the bat, it wouldn't have killed him. But because Luminescence and his Bravery was really low, it managed to break his Bravery, giving me more Bravery in return and cashing him out and sealing the deal with that. So that video kind of shows, like, the Japanese meta build that Vaans tend to use, but with like a sort of Western playstyle, which over in the EU we normally tend to play more aggressive, we take more risks, we do throw out a bit more HP attacks. With Japan, they're a bit more conservative. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of game 1. So more or less it's sort of a demonstration of how aggressive Vaan can be and how dangerous he can be as the match progresses. Normally with Vaans, like, you want to try and shut them out before they stack Luminescence, so every single time he dies he loses a few stacks. So he's not going to be like Bart's where he comes back alive, he's like, oh, I still got my jobs mastered, you know, I'm still a problem. Like with him, he still has to work to become a problem again. Alright guys, so this is the second match that I have. So I'm playing with Bo the Hero and Nano Mechanical, which is also known as Colon /. So this is the team that I currently play for, which is Astral Fawns in the Dissidia EU League. Also, I won the Dissidia launch tournament in London with Bowie as well, so we're kind of used to each other's playstyles. Normally the comp that we both run is double specialists, so with Vaan and Bart's, we both, like, everyone knows that Vaan and Bart's are both characters who don't really have the best early game, but become more of a problem as the match progresses. With Bowie and Bart's being able to master jobs, and then myself and Vaan being able to have more deadlier HP attacks the more we keep hitting them. But the thing is, with the trick to this is that if you shot one of us out, then you still have the other specialist to deal with, which is also a problem. And then obviously with Nanomechanical, with his strong terror, he's got Meltdown, he's got Teleport, and he's got Doom. So he's going to try and more or less peel for us while we go in and we try and just max out our quirks and our mechanics. So they've got a Zidane, a Y'shtola, and a Garland.
Won't even see me coming.
And we're on Eden as well.
I can't wait. Let's do this already.
So ideally, like, because I don't have White Well, I can no longer do that brick walls, but I throw out Calamitous Orb straight away just to try and see if I can build whatever stacks I can. It doesn't matter how much HP I cash out or how much bravery I do. As long as I get my 3 stacks of luminescence first, then I can work on other stuff like trying to cash out as high as possible and stuff like that. Also with the current build that I'm running is Share Bravery and Bravery Regen. So with Bravery Regen right here, you just get occasional bravery. It works with all your teammates as well. But here's the trick to his EX and bravery share. So when he uses Dreadnought, which is his EX, he freezes his HP and he can charge up his HP as well, like a sort of Dragon Ball Z style. Like the way that Ramza charges as well, like to do Shout and Steal. So I freeze and I use Share Bravery. My teammates get a third. But the way that it procs with Dreadnought is that they will get a third of my bravery, but my bravery will not decrease. It will still stay as the same amount that it's frozen at. And then even when Dreadnought is over, it won't decrease either. It will still stay at that same amount. So that's a little trick to playing Vaan as well, if you wish to pick him up. Like, have Share Bravery as well, along with Dreadnought. So I throw out Calamity Orb. Garland's already stunned, and we end up pelting Garland straight away. So he's going to lose a lot of bravery. Bowie's got 1 stack on Ranger as well because he's already hit him with Ranger, and I've already done down 2, so he's going to lose a lot of damage. I mean, look, you lose a lot of bravery and take a lot of damage, and then Terra's Icicle's already on it, so he's just getting dogged on. The mistake that we made here is that we all focused on Garland and we didn't focus on Zidane at all. So Garland gets knocked away and Zidane focuses me straight away. So I try to run back and support my teammates. I end up hitting Garland and I knock Garland back, so I throw an orb. So even if you throw the orb at him, the moment you throw the orb at an enemy, you can easily just swap the camera and just change to another character. The orb will do its thing, you don't have to watch it. So we end up going for Y'shtola as well because she can be a problem. The orb ends up hitting Garland and I get a cash out of 616 damage. So my bravery's going to reset. The orb ends up hitting Y'shtola as well. So we've already got 2 stacks before we get Luminescence. So I end up throwing an orb at Zidane as well, and it stuns Zidane. And then I end up getting the 3rd stack of, so that means Luminescence is actually active. So the moment I hit someone with a HP attack, he's going to hurt. Garland ends up challenging me and charging at me straight away with dash 2. I end up using Red Spiral. Now Red Spiral is the sort of unique move. Like, you have to get the spacing down on it. It has a lot of anti-air purposes as well. So if someone's above you and you use Red Spiral, it'll always catch them. Normally what I tend to do is throw out down 2 into Red Spiral, and that forms a sort of tech chase. Because Garland's challenging at me and he throws dash 2 has a massive hitbox in front of him. So Red Spiral ends up clipping the hitbox and ends up getting Garland. And he's going to take damage from Luminescence as well. I do down 2 into Zidane, and then I go for the tech chase, which is Red Spiral. Obviously, he's converted to a defensive option and throws shield, which is his fastest option to do. And he ends up dropping into Red Spiral, which gives me another HP attack. I throw a red orb at Y'shtola and then realise she's stunned, but I miss space Red Spiral and I get punished by Garland here. The Red Spiral still hit Y'shtola, but because my bravery was broken, it didn't do any sort of damage to her. But I got another stack anyway, so that leaves me at 5 stacks of Luminescence. Garland's already knocked down. I noticed that Zidane's punishing Nanomechanical, so I end up trying to save him, but it just wasn't enough. And then I turn to Y'shtola straight away and throw down 2, so I'm most likely just trying to keep my space at him. I don't want to commit to anything aggressive. So with here I noticed that Nano's fireballs, or is it the icicles, I don't know, but it has a lot of hit stun on them, so I end up using the opportunity and cashing out Luminescence, so it leaves me at 6 stacks now. So after 6 stacks of Luminescence, it does a black hole effect afterwards, so that does even more damage than what it originally does at the 3 stacks. So here, like, I'm pretty much steroid pumped. So I throw orb at Y'shtola to stop her from snowballing, and she gets hit by the Luminescence. So if you notice, the ball was actually black was a sort of blackish greyish vibe, and the black hole was actually purple, where beforehand it was originally white. So it goes to show you that, okay, there is a way to see it that it's actually at 6 stacks. So the moment that they noticed this, they should have turned to me straight away. And I think Bo ends up getting the kill with Samurai. So yeah, that's pretty much game 2 right there. It's pretty much just showed off how Red Spiral works and how Calamity Orb works. So Calamity Orb, you know, a lot of marksmen hate that move. You throw it out and it stops them from throwing out all projectiles and trying to just wall opponents and get picks, because they have to worry about the orb as well. On hit it stuns, and then on the shots as well, so it shoots 6 times now due to the buff that Vaan got. So it helps with really chasing and confirming picks and trying to keep the enemy on their toes at all times. So without further ado, we'll go into the third match. Alright guys, so this is the third match. I'm playing with Spickle, so I'll link him in my YouTube description. He's actually a friend of mine from the Dissidia community, and he also played with Tempest Venus a few times. And he's one of the mods for the Dissidia EU Discord as well. So me and him have really strong synergy. It's just a solo queue match that we're playing. With this, I'm actually changed my build to Mighty Strikes and Bravery regen. So Bravery regen originally does what it's supposed to do, regenerates Bravery, and obviously it helps me towards building Bravery and cashing out stacks. Also, we've got Shiva as well, so with her passive, I'm able to kind of keep the flow of Bravery going and cashing out as much kills as possible, and cashing out as much HPs as possible, sorry. Mighty Strikes is really interesting though. It procs with Luminescence, so when they get into the white or the black ball and start taking extra damage, Mighty Strikes will help with that and do more damage than what it's originally supposed to do. Spickles also run Boon and Mighty Strikes as well, so with Boon, every single time Kuja does an EX, he gets buffs from doing it. Boon actually helps towards those buffs, and it helps towards his trance as well. And yeah, so we're pretty much going to the match now. Terra's got Meltdown, Skull's got Rough Divide with Ren's Shield, and Sephiroth's got Enfeeble and Mighty Strike. So with Enfeeble, with Genova as well, which is Sephiroth's EX, Sephiroth's going to be able to chase down enemies a lot easier when he gets thrown into that orb. So once he catches you with that and he has Enfeeble, that's a free Octo Slash for him. And with Skull as well, Ren's Shield, that's going to be a problem for me, because that's going to break my Bravery quite a lot if he catches me with that. So we'll go into the match. I just want to let you know as well that there's live commentary.
Balls everywhere. I know Shiva has the ice balls near the end.
Now, beg for your lives.
What is this?
Can't wait. Let's do this already.
Alright, Terra's not watching you. Alright, Terra's watching you. I'm committing to a pyro. Okay, so as you can see right here, what I'm going to do is, because there's live commentary, I'm going to pause then speak instead of speaking during the match. So the way that it was here, Terra's already committed to like a hard projectile that leaves her a minus. So I tried to run in and throw with Pyroclasm. So Pyroclasm, it's a move that's similar to Ace's Fire RF, but it covers a lot more angles. Where his kind of goes solid, where the Pyroclasm can bend a little bit. So normally what I tend to do on Nash is that I always have Pyroclasm just to try and get some long distance snipes if someone commits to a wall splat or something unsafe. I do have the sort of range to at least punish them with it. So doing that now, Squall and Sephiroth have acknowledged that I've gone for Terra and they tried to knock me away from her quickly and peel. So I'm just trying to feel out the game, feel out the neutral a bit more. Sephiroth already commits to us. Because Squall and Sephiroth have run in my face, I've done down 2, which came out really fast and knocks them up in the air.
I'm pulling back.
And then I tried to go for the check chase with Pyroclasm. It didn't really work and Sephiroth's still on my case. I throw Azure Torrent out of insurance and he backs away. Okay, so Squall's running in my face and he knew that I charged up Pyroclasm, but I held it down a bit more so you can charge Pyroclasm to try and bait air dodges. So what I did is he'd run in my face, I baited the air dodge, and I punished him with Pyroclasm, so it's kind of left him at low health. And I throw another one at Terra as well, just to try and keep her away. She ends up running in and trying to commit to Meltdown, thinking that it'll come out fast enough, but my Pyro actually beat her to the trade. I noticed that Squall's behind me as well, and I'm just trying to keep my distance from him and watching him to try and get angles on me. Crystal's up, but because I'm knocked away, I can't really commit to it. Spickle realises here that I'm in danger, and if he didn't save me, I would have got hit by Rough Divide. Because he didn't have that much bravery, it wouldn't have been that much damage. But I let him punish with
Punish him.
yeah, so obviously I just said I punish him, so I let him punish him, and then I go for Terror and Sephiroth straight away. I miss Space Shadow Torrent and I get hit by an arrow, and Sephiroth's literally trying to keep me away from Terror as much as possible. He doesn't pay attention to me, which is why I say the mini-map is probably the most crucial thing that you need to watch on this game. Because he ignored me and ran off, I was able to get a cheeky fireball on him.
3-stack Nathan.
I call out that I'm on 3-stack already. And the same thing that I done to school earlier is that I baited the air dodge and threw the fireball in his face. So I'm already at Luminescence, so that will do a bit of damage to him already. I go to hurl Sephiroth off. And because of the trade, I don't know how that actually works, but I hit them and they would have went into Luminescence, but because they hit me out the fireball already, done a bit of damage and left them in hit stun. So Spickle already sees this opportunity and goes in for an attack. So one of the issues that I done here is that one of the mistakes that I made here is that I've hit him with Luminescence, but what happened was Spickle had enough bravery to kill him. So that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I've probably made that whole match, instead of letting him confirm the kill. So I see that Terror is just open, so I throw a fireball at her, and I go to duel School. School comes at my face, so I throw Agitorant at him. And with here, Sephiroth ends up charging, I think it's neutral 2. So he ends up throwing out neutral 2, but my fireball's fast enough to challenge him. If he spaced it any closer, he probably would have hit me and knocked me back, which is why I say spacing's another crucial issue. And we end up sealing the deal just off that fireball. So yeah, that's pretty much game 3 there. So ideally, like, what I want to do is try and do more of these sort of videos. It's going to help me with my commentaries, because I do want to do commentary for Dissidia. So I'm going to try and do more of these breakdown analysis videos. This is just specifically Vaan, because of the fact that I main Vaan. And I thought it would be easier to just break down my character. But I think when I keep rolling out these videos, I'll try to tackle other characters or stuff that people will request and see if I can try and work off that. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the video right here. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time.